I'm Emily,
And I'm Eric.
and welcome to the You Should Thank Me podcast, a podcast about a married couple in our 40s living in Ontario with our English Cocker Spaniel and our Cockapoo.
This week we're diving headfirst into the world of artificial intelligence, the good, the creepy, total unnecessary.
Ooh, good teaser.
Yeah, great start so it's all clogged up.
Sorry, I felt like I was like giggling
Yeah.
through that. I don't know why.
I don't know how that happened. I'm like, your throat's fine all day, and then you have to start talking, and then it's like clogged up. I guess.
Me or you?
Me.
Oh.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, I thought you were talking about my stumbling on words, but.
Oh no, talking about me, I'm dying over here.
So how was your week?
Pretty good. Well, yeah, it's been busy. Just again, like I feel like I say this every week. Just work is just nuts right now. So, yeah, just dealing with that, and yeah, that's been my life. It's just been work.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just thinking before we hit record that I haven't talked about my volleyball situation lately, and that's mainly because I haven't been going because it's been so cold and raining. So I've actually have skipped out on the last 2 weeks. But this week, I mean, it's still supposed to rain. I don't know why it literally rains every Wednesday apparently, but it's supposed to be warmer. It's supposed to be like 25 degrees, not raining as much either. So hopefully I'll be able to stifle the warmth and the energy or summon rather,
Yeah.
the energy to go. Because yeah, I just felt like it was literally 5 degrees and like raining like 20 millimeters. I'm like, I won't enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the only update, or is there any
About what?
about your volleyball? Like,
So the player that I've only met the first week, who, you know, essentially wasn't quite up to snuff, they are apparently attending this week.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna have an awful Thursday.
Yeah.
Just
Just have a glass of wine ready for me.
kicking a rock down the road.
like,
You're just angry.
At 8:40, have a glass of wine ready in hand to pass off to me. But
Maybe prepare a hard conversation. I like look at it. We've probably went through this before, but like if you can't, you know, I think we have where it's just like it's not like you're playing like novice volleyball. This is intermediate, and if you can't hang, you gotta get lost.
mm-hmm. Well, and maybe part of it too, and like you just said, I don't know if I had mentioned this previously, but I do think that it is a conversation, and maybe it has to come from another male. I don't know. But just saying like, hey, like, obviously in a better way, but just saying, hey, like, you know, it's okay if you can't stay on the team. Like, we'll be fine. Like, we'll make it work. Like, you don't have to be like
Addition by subtraction. Well, how about you? Yeah, let the other person lead, but do good cop, bad cop, because like they might be nice and they'll be like, well, you know, we could probably do good without you. You can just yell in the background, you suck.
Yeah. When I get into my states and where I'm like very frustrated, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've obviously never done anything like that, but my mom and I were talking about it too a while ago, and she said, you know, it sounds exactly like how I was when I used to play like ice hockey, because I would just get on the ice and I would just be like a different person.
Yeah.
And this is exactly, and I guess maybe it's just that competitive edge or something. I don't know, but so yeah, I can be pretty like mean and fierce, but.
And that conversation kind of happened today, or well, this week. Someone had brought up, I don't know where we were talking about it, but how you kind of come from a competitive family.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. But we both feel, but like, I don't know. I don't know how you measure it, but I think I'm way more serious when I play sports than you are. Like, I get mad over nothing. So, I don't know where I get the competitive edge from, because I certainly didn't get it from anyone in my family. But you, on the other hand, your family is like, even when you aren't competing, but talking about competing, your family's like, yeah, we'll kick your butt. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go biking with you. Yeah, maybe if I want to bike backwards, like, yeah, your family's pretty,
yeah, well,
confident.
That was yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
With a couple of friends that were there too, and they were talking about their family dynamics as well. But you know, yeah, I mean, even my family gets competitive over like a ping pong game. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
until you beat my ass.
Yeah, well, But I have said this, maybe I definitely haven't said it on the podcast. The very interesting thing is like, and I'm not being self-deprecating, but like I am athletic. Like I do think I'm very coordinated, and I mean I used to be fast, decently strong, but like funny enough, I'm like the least athletic person. Like I mean, definitely of my siblings. I mean, obviously my parents' age like plays a factor, but I mean, yeah, clearly my dad could like kick my ass and like cycling, and you know my mom's very fit too. But I don't know. It's just so funny. I'm just like I'm also, even though I'm like athletic, I'm actually the least athletic out of the three kids.
And I would say I'm the opposite. Like I'm the most athletic in my family, but I will say every one of my family members are sneaky strong.
Yeah.
Like. It can't be understated how strong my mother is.
Yeah.
Like she can chop wood like legitimately better than I can nowadays, and she's getting into her 70s. And I again, like I think I'm more athletic than her. I just know that she pulls from a strength that is not of this world. I don't know what she does.
That's like my middle sister too.
Yeah, for sure. I think your middle sister has like a switch. Like, like where
she's very strong though. Like, that's the funny thing too.
But she has to try. Like I don't think she's just strong overall. I think like if you annoy her, I'm like, okay, I'm strong now.
Like you're not talking about competitively in a sport. You're just kind of talking about like in general, or
both. I think like even your other sister, like I've seen them play table tennis.
Yeah, together against each other.
And it's kind of funny because they're both like on like just low, and then it gets medium and it gets high. Like they both kind of like step it up.
Well, and what I'll say about them too, and I can talk about this for days, but I find too, like specifically in the example with like ping pong, is like their strategies are different. Like Katie, my middle sister, is like so calm, cool, and collected, and like uses that to her advantage against like all of us.
Yeah, trick shots and like just like
she's just so like patient and like just goes with it and just makes it happen. And then I feel like, especially for me, like, and my dad, like we're just very like anxious and like like not scatterbrained, but we definitely can get frustrated. And I think Jamie's a little bit of that, like my eldest sister. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so funny. We're all very, very different when it comes to that. But
we ended up going into the big city there and watching a show as well.
Last week, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Matt Berenger.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. It was his I like his band. He comes from the National. I really enjoy their music.
Mm-hmm.
But this is his self stuff, and it was really intimate venue, and I had a good time. Even though like I don't really love a lot of his solo stuff, it was good, and I think we had a good time. We zipped down there. It wasn't too bad traffic, and zipped out of there. And
yeah, no, it definitely. I mean, obviously, you're his fan, right? And I'm sort of along for the ride, but it was really good. Like. Yeah, he has a great voice, and like you say, the venue was awesome. Like, we didn't really run into much traffic. There was a couple spots, but I feel like those spots were the typical like bottlenecks anyways when you're like going into Toronto. And we were obviously talking about how it's so interesting that like this weekday concert in Toronto seemed easier than like a weekday concert in London.
Yeah.
Which is like basically at equidistance of like where we live. So it's just very weird. But like you'd think that Toronto would be more chaotic, especially since you've never lived there and you don't drive there that much. Like a handful of times a year. Like I mean, I definitely drive there a lot more often, and I think I'm more comfortable. But
yeah, I don't like driving in the city, but I've gotten better. Yeah, I've gotten better in the years.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of those things where I couldn't imagine 20 years ago driving in Toronto. I think the first time I would drive through it ever so often, but it's different when you take like the 407. Like you're not really driving in Toronto. I think like when you drive, like you still get a piece of it, right? Like it's like everyone's going 20 over and they're passing whenever they want. Like that's the vibe. But I think when you're going downtown Toronto, like that's where you really earn your stripes. So yeah, I had a good time driving there, and nice show.
Yeah, and the doggies were good. I think, well, from what we know. I mean,
I don't know.
We don't know what they were up to. They had their own.
They could have been digging a hole somewhere. Tunnel to get out of here.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, maybe it's not too obvious for people that are listening, but I'm pretty like helicopter mom when it comes to the dogs. So I was I thought that maybe we should have somebody like check on them because we were gone for, X number of hours. But I mean, once again, their dogs were home all day. We wore them out during the day so that they were just like sleepy and resting while we were out. And
we've been gone way longer too in the past.
yeah, well, and it hasn't been as much of a concern within like the last 6 months or like a year, but I don't think we've mentioned this. I feel like I've been saying that a lot. Like, we haven't mentioned that.
We haven't. I think I know where you're going with it, but I don't think
with Lily.
Yeah.
We have Lily. Yeah, when she was like a puppy up until she was probably like, well, I mean, she turns 3 in July, so next month. But I would say like, yeah, for the first couple of years of her life, for some reason she didn't. I don't know what it was, but she didn't seem to understand like potty training in the sense of like peeing. She would pee sometimes inside, and I don't know. I just don't think she. I know we're going on a couple tangents today, but
yeah, I think she was like pad trained because she would make a mess on the floor, but there were spots over near where like her dish was where she'd just pee on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she was really hard to kind of break out of that. And we ended up having to make like a rule where she uses the washroom before going to bed, which is like,
anyways,
yeah, but like it had to be done.
Like counting the hours, basically, like working back the hours to like when she would have to wake up.
I know it sounds like, well, who doesn't let their dogs out before they go to bed, but it was more than that. Like it was like we did that and we'd wake up in 4 hours and do it again. Like it was really a difficult time, and it's weird because I do think it was trained in her because she's a very intelligent dog and she knew that she'd done wrong, but she still did it for a long time. But I think we've had one accident, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah. Well, I'm planning on feeding her a bunch of water and then.
Well, and that was the thing too. Is like we obviously had that schedule for her, and we also, which we never had to do with Duke. He was like basically an angel from. I don't even know if he like did he ever have an accident? I mean, he definitely had accidents in the house, but like I think he maybe had like 3 accidents ever.
When he was like literally like
3 months old.
3 months old, he had accidents, and they were like very much. He just had a small bladder.
Yeah, because he was a puppy.
Yeah, and that was something we learned real quick. That was like, yeah, we got to take them out a little bit more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways, her water schedule, and I will also the final thing I'll say too is that. I think which has made a huge improvement, not only like in training her to kind of like not forcing, but like to hold her bladder. And it's been beneficial for us in our sleep is we actually create, or what we call put them in their house at nighttime overnight. So we think that has gradually kind of like, strengthened her bladder where she can't even just like walk. If she has some sense of urge to pee, she's not going to probably pee where she sleeps.
Yeah, we also lock her down in the cage with weights. And, and the only reason we even put them in there is because they're little jerks in the morning at 7 a.m. And it's not even her. Actually, it's Duke. Duke.
That's like the most.
Duke is like so passive aggressively rude too. He'll like wipe his face on like.
The side of the bed.
And like he'll just start like scratching.
Yeah, I call it rummaging around. He rummages around.
He does. He's like an old man looking for something. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'd like to have a tangerine this morning. And it's just like it's annoying because he knows what he's doing. He knows we'll react to it. So honestly, we could make a rule. Like if you wanted to let Lily out at night, I'm cool with that.
Because she's very quiet. She sleeps on the bed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But then we're worried about maybe her having potty.
Nah, I'm not worried about that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny. And he, I mean, you and I get mad at Duke because it is absolutely annoying. Once again, part of the reason why we wanted to create them is because it was for our, like, getting full, 8 hours ish plus or minus of sleep.
Yeah.
But his rummaging around is like it's cute only because a lot of the times it's like if I say like, take a t-shirt off or whatever as I'm changing into my pajamas and it's like on the side of the on the floor on the side of the bed, that's also what he's like rummaging around in and like is trying to make a bed out of it. So it's also like kind of sweet because he's like, oh, this smells like mom. I'm gonna like make a little bed. But yeah.
But he doesn't do it any other times during the day. He only does it when he knows he's going to be fed very soon, so it's just like off and around.
That's true.
And as we should get into the topic this week,
Yeah, God, stop talking. Yeah, so I thought this week we would talk about AI.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't know how this topic's going to go because I'm around AI in my field, but I don't really use it. And you, on the other hand, use AI a lot more often than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly know a lot about AI, like on the back end of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I really don't use it. And I'm also skeptical in parts, but I don't know where you want to jump off here.
Well, I guess the first thing is like we don't really use it really in our house that much.
Well, like I guess it's like built into other apps now, like with Google searches and stuff like that. But you're correct. We don't outright use AI.
Because I know some people, like some of our friends have like, which I'm assuming this is AI actually.
Oh
now that,
no, you're talking about like Google Home and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, it's not AI, but because
So what is that?
like it's just like
Smart devices.
Yeah, it's just a smart device. It just takes a command and it does a search with it. I guess AI is more like kind of taking elaborate things and just getting more of a elaborate output. Like, because Google Home, like yeah, you can do Google searches and turn on and off lights, which are smart devices, but like I wouldn't really put it the same as AI. Although like I can kind of see like they can overlap. But AI to me is just like being like, hey, write this thing for me, and it just takes like a sentence and makes something completely out of it, or like a picture or a form of media. Especially with that new Google Vox 8, Boss 8. Was it Vox?
No idea.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
So obviously every company wants to have their own AI language. I think Google did make the first AI, or someone that worked for Google.
Are you also talking about like the Google, like the Gemini and then like ChatGPT? Is that what yours? Because that's what I certainly think of when I think of like AI stuff. But there's probably a more broad stroke
there's new
application
stuff.
of it.
There's a new one that just came out. I think it's like $100 a year to use it. It's called Voss 8. And when you put in ChatGPT, write a thing for me. Well, this is like make a video for me, and it can make you like a 10-second video, and it can talk and everything. I think it can make even longer. I've only seen like 10-second videos, but I saw like a lawyer use like an AI thing in court, which could be Pilot or whatever by Microsoft. Like everyone has their own AI language, but I will say like AI in my head, like it's good for things certainly, like making letters. Even I'll use it for like PowerShell scripts. But I also think like when it comes up in my Google searches, it really annoys me because
like the synopsis or whatever?
Yeah, because that data is not good.
Correct.
Yeah. Like I've seen
it's still learning.
Yeah, but and that's the problem is that AI learns from our searches, and it's not necessarily like we're fake.
Accurate.
Yeah, we're it's kind of like.
And it doesn't self-correct. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
It's just not smart.
It doesn't. But I think that's also part of it, though, is that it will eventually become smarter. I mean, that is like are the robots going to eventually come for us because like they're going to get smarter and smarter? Like, do I think that that's in our lifetime? No.
Oh, so you think computers will overtake humans?
Well, no. I just think that there's going to be like just issues that we can't even foresee now with like technology, and I mean there's not even really like I feel like even companies like don't have a lot of like policies about like how to use like what's appropriate use of like AI, like say in their work.
They're certainly scared of it.
Yeah, like, and so I just think, and then the other thing too that I thought, which I have like a reminder to talk about later, but we can maybe go into it now, and it's sort of what you were talking about, like the lawyer reference and using AI. I've told you about how there was like this like tragic death of a guy that got shot accidentally, quote unquote, and the court allowed during the sentencing hearing, I've told you this, right?
Yep.
Okay. During the sentencing hearing that the person who had died had an impact statement based on his family supplying like an AI, whatever, if it was ChatGPT or whatever, and created like a video impact description of this person who is like deceased. And the judge even talked about how that was like meaningful for him and actually kind of had like an influence on the judge's decision on how much to like sentence this guy who had, you know, accidentally, I guess, like shot this, I think he was like a military guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that stuff is scary. How there's also, once again, there's no, like, it's like the Wild West. I think that's what scares me, is like.
But the internet is the Wild West just overall. It's just now we don't have, now it's not human based, it's computer based, and it's even less controllable as it was before. Because if you think about it, like all of this, like I get it, we're kind of, I might be running with an example that's off yours, like way off of yours. But like, there's always been heinous stuff on the internet, and it's just like, and I'm not saying that this impact. I'm personally really against like using AI like an impact statement like that in law.
Yeah.
I think like that is, and this lawyer thing too. Like as soon as they brought that up, I feel like I want to say it's the Supreme Court, but it's just like there's 5 judges, so I wasn't sure, and they blew up on him, like yelled at him for doing it. So yeah, I don't know, like. It's certainly like the idea of AI having a thing against law. Like you have to realize that like hackers and stuff like that change laws all the time in the sense that like they can hurt evidence and stuff. Like that's always been an issue, but now it's AI, and I just think it's like way more stronger and more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, back to the Wild West. It is in North America, but like in places like Korea, like if you deep fake someone. And like they're like someone of like, well, I don't even think you have to be someone of interest. If you deep fake someone and they find out it was deep faked, like you're going to jail for like years. It's a felony. It's not dozen years, but like why they do that is that the deep fake, it comes from a company, right? Because that company is providing the AI, and the companies don't want to be held liable with it. So courts in South Korea are really like, they're going to put you in jail for a long time. And this is happening right now with like a case with a person that deep faked a couple of like him kissing a girl. Like it was something as simple as that. And you know, and then you can think of how heinous you can get with that stuff. So I agree with you. It's really scary. I'm not a huge fan of it, but you know, whether you like it or not, it's happened. It's happening, and it's happened. It's getting more and more elaborate every day.
It is, yeah, and I think that's this like. I just think too of like scams, right? Where it's like, like that, like I just feel that, I mean, it could be used good and bad. I think, I don't know if it's someone that you follow, but I feel like you've told sort of the story about how someone used AI to
Brad Pitt,
to like fake out a scammer. Like was like conning, like was like conning the scammer, but it was just like an AI, like. Whatever, I don't know what the word is. What's like algorithm or whatever.
So it was a written AI. It was but it was intelligent enough that like you wrote a bunch of commands and it did get smarter. But like that was like a homebrew AI. Like that would like so not even half as strong as these bigger ones.
No, for sure not. No.
Yeah, and you're right. That is using it for good. I thought you were gonna go with like how many people are using AI profiles. To
that was. I mean, that was sort of my. Yeah, like I was saying, for good, which is, I mean, obviously there are good positives about it, but yeah, like I just think of like, you know, like 85-year-old grandmas where it's like, you know, before it was like a phone call by like a human saying, oh my gosh, like your son is hurt or your grandson's hurt, you need to send blah, blah, blah. But like, if they then make an AI that like sounds like the son, and then they pretend that they're the son, be like, oh my gosh, grandma, like I'm so hurt, I'm in the hospital in Honduras, like send all this money or whatever. That is like what's scary. And I feel like when it gets to that point and is that serious, like I feel like we're going to be of the age that it's like almost vulnerable against. And maybe even before that. I mean, I'm not saying like when we're 80 it's going to be that advanced. It's probably going to be sooner. Much sooner, but like I don't know, like all that stuff is just really like scary, and it's like you gotta like stay on top of it. I'm thankful that you work in computers, but still.
Well, and I'm scared because like if that happens and we're in our 60s, I'm gonna start speaking computer talk like 01100, and you guys are gonna think I have dementia, but I'm just trying to trick the computer with binary.
Yeah, well, and Jamie's gonna be the only one that understands you.
But. No, well, it happened, I think, 6 months ago that a woman in UK thought that Brad Pitt needed money, and it was all these pictures of him, like, in a hospital. And the thing is like, I know, like, that's embarrassing, but because...
Did you see the pictures, though?
Yeah, they did look bad.
They looked so bad.
but it probably wasn't the pictures that got her. It's because you can have any famous person's voice on AI, and he probably used Brad Pitt's voice to call her.
Yeah.
And it sounds exactly like Brad Pitt.
Yeah, because it's just
because
it's scrubbed from the internet. Any voice, any talking that he's done.
Yeah. And you're talking about like a person on the street, and it'll be harder, but you know, you can make a voice and it'll sound pretty much. But the fact that they can just use Brad Pitt's voice.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting. Like, I mean, I don't know if we, like, I just had another thought too of like, you know, obviously we're recording this in 2025. Like, it'd be interesting to have this specific episode like in, you know, quote unquote, a virtual lockbox, and then we look back on it in like 10 years, like re-listen to this episode and just see where we're at now, or like make a certain predictions now of what it's going to be like in like 10, 20 years or whatever, and like see how right or wrong we were. But I don't know, it's just interesting that we're going to actually like listen back on this maybe eventually and be like, we were like scared for nothing, or it's like way worse or whatever.
What's annoying about AI and like thinking about something in the future is that when I was growing up, I thought we'd have flying cars by now, but we barely can even make cars that go into tunnels underground. Like, I'm just disappointed in how we get AI first, but I can't drive a car in the air yet. But that's all. I'm disappointed. I'm hoping in 10 years that changes, right? Maybe. Yeah. But anyways, past that bad joke, what else can we talk about here?
Silence.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that AI is, I mean, I'll also say too that I do use it sometimes for work. You know, I think it's a very helpful tool. I don't necessarily use it for like writing emails and stuff. It's just, yeah, I think it's helpful. But once again, like, you know, there aren't a lot of companies that have, at least for that I know of. I'm actually just in a way also talking on my ass, but like, I just don't think that there's a lot of policies yet, like in organizations of like how to use AI and how not to. And I know that there are, like, one of my friends who recently left like a big corporation, like they had their own like AI like as part of their corporation. Like they were creating their own AI like system to like to be able to learn and grow and optimize and like do all these things, which I think is like smart, at least with like first party sort of like owned intellect. But
well, this is the thing, is like property. It's a double-edged sword. Like if the person, there's probably only a handful of people writing that, and if one of those people leave, like, will the next person know what to do? And you can't really say that like that stuff is locked down, like secure. So a lot of these companies will like just rent a package from like Amazon or Microsoft because then they have a reputable name behind it that's being used by other companies and can then use like get policies from those companies. But at the same time, that costs more money. And then there are people that are like, other companies are like, hey, we can protect your AI on top of the AI. So there's a lot of like, everyone wants to get a piece of the pie money wise. I'm not necessarily for home baked AI because I think like if the company's small, then it makes sense. But like we have home baked things you know, in our company, and certainly it works for certain situations. But you'll never, like, when something breaks, you're just like, well, we're the ones that got to fix it. And if someone's got hit by a bus, we're kind of SOL. And it's happened enough times in the company for just other things before AI where it's like, companies don't want to do that. Like, they might want to save money and, like, have someone to do it, you know, for them. But they'd rather buy it from some company and have that same person learn it through there. Because then, anyways,
no, it's interesting, and we can even talk a little bit more like from a technology like perspective overall, but even recently I've been looking into, and you've been helping me immensely, so thank you, for a new phone, like a new smartphone.
Like how we went to AI too.
So actually, that's actually not what where I was gonna go, but that is hilarious. Yeah. So I use AI. I use I think ChatGPT to compare. Well, at first it was just two different phones. It was like my old phone. So my phone's like 6 years old now. So
Yeah.
she's on the way out. It's been a great phone, but like it's just gone to the point where there's like these such weird glitches that are like.
I like how you talk about the glitches. Your screen's been cracked for a year,
That too.
and it like has an ink leak, so the screen looks like it's bleeding. It's red. It's such a janky looking phone now, and it was a good phone, but
It was.
I would say like 8 months in, like you'd be like, oh, my phone's so slow. And I remember,
8 months in.
yeah, you were
With
always
this phone?
you always complained about that phone, and I'd be like, look, it has to talk to the satellites in space. Give it a minute, okay? Just let it cook.
Mm-hmm.
And this is and this we might talk about this depending. This is the problem between me and you when it comes to technology. I got to live in the woods most of my life, and I didn't have technology. And then when I got it, I had dial-up, and dial-up was the worst.
I had dial-up too.
Yeah, well, it surprised me because you wanted everything yesterday when it comes to this stuff.
I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
Classic millennial.
Well, same
I'm
here.
sorry.
But, yeah, but like, if it doesn't work, I'm like, okay, walk away. I'm not mad at it.
We had dial-up though.
Yeah, not long enough.
Apparently.
Not long enough.
I
And
didn't realize it was a competition.
well,
It's always a competition.
It's always a competition. Yeah. I compete way less than you do. Okay?
Yeah, well, it goes back to our initial and credits.
And I was on a party line too, so someone down the road could pick up the phone and mess up my dial-up.
Those were the days.
You even know what a party line is?
No.
Exactly. Those were the days. Yeah, right.
No, I was just more reminiscing about just dial-up and how, it just seemed much simpler then, where it's like, no phones. But yeah, anyways, I did use ChatGPT or one of them to compare the current different options. But even when I was then doing my own research on the actual phone on just the Bell website, even there was I felt like every other content block that talked about its features mentioned AI. It was weird. I was just like, okay, so this whole thing is just, which I don't know. It was just weird, and it was talking because
that's the buzzword right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was just and it was talking about it because my big thing is the size of the phone. I hate big screen phones. Basically, it's we're walking around with a tablet. So that was the first thing. But the second thing that is important to me, or top three, is the camera. So I went to the description of the camera for the Pixel, and it was talking about AI this and AI that for its photos and how it's
yeah, megapixels don't need as much as they used to anyways. You can't really tell how good a camera is. It's by the megapixels. They're all
No, I'm talking about the phone.
Yeah.
The phone Pixel. Google Pixel.
Yeah. I guess realistically though is there's nothing to talk about before AI. The last thing they were talking about phones is when you take a picture and you can remove someone. And then before that, there's nothing to talk about. 10, 15 years ago, the fact that your phone could it was touchscreen and wasn't on a BlackBerry thing was amazing. And then you had this thing called Bluetooth that just worked.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had all of those exciting stuff that was really exciting. It's gone. So now we have to get pumped over AI. Thanks, Google. You're gonna use AI on my search. I don't know why I would ever use a phone for AI. It just sounds stupid.
I know. That's why I was very confused by it too. I was just why is this like you say, it's that buzzword. So it's just they're just trying to it's probably AI that wrote this content. Let's be honest. It wrote the actual copy. So all it was talking about was the different ads or whatever. Now I got distracted.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyways, do we want to go to your random question? I think this week's episode is going to be a little bit shorter. It's nice out and want to enjoy the evening, but do you have any random questions for this week?
What's the most useless thing that you'd love AI to do for you?
Clean the house.
Well, it kind of already. Why would you want AI? You got me. I'm way cheaper than getting an AI thing to do, right?
Or a robot.
Well, that's the thing is you got to specify. How's it going to work? Because Roombas exist before AI. So like, what do you mean AI clean? You mean getting a robot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess we're not there yet for
No,
robots.
not at all. Have you seen like?
I've seen the robots. They look actually really spooky.
They're weird. It's like I've seen ones that like are trying to kick like a soccer ball, and
I've
ones
seen
that
the
are.
basketball one guy never misses. It's very weird.
Oh really?
Yeah, it never misses.
So the ones only that I've been seeing are the ones where all the robots like suck and just like try and kick a soccer ball and then like fall over, and it's like it's hilarious. But it's interesting how you're seeing all the like spooky successful.
Yeah, I actually saw a robot getting like out of control and like swinging around and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that one where, and like I think the stupid like headline or whatever was like, oh, robots are already like first time they're fighting back or something.
So I also
Malarkey.
I will say like in the future, I just hope that the AI listens to Asimov's law.
I don't know.
So this guy, and like when computers first came around, Isaac Asimov, I might be saying his last name wrong, Asimov. He made a bunch of rules that computers had to follow, where they couldn't harm humans and they had to help humans, and like these were, it's kind of for being sacrilegious, it's kind of like the commandments for computers. So
Okay.
I'm just hoping the computers remember because I remember,
Yeah.
and you know,
Well, they're
handshake
nice.
deal.
That's
Don't
why
be crazy.
That's why I'm always very polite to ChatGPT. I'm like, thank you. This is great.
I will say one AI thing like kept messaging through like I think Facebook, and I literally told it to F off.
Yeah.
And it's like sorry, and I'm like,
really?
and I'm like F off means F off.
Yeah.
Don't apologize, just get lost.
That's hilarious.
Useless thing AI to do for me, and you know what? Well, I don't understand by useless thing. I will say. I really want AI to drive cars. I know it's done it before, and then an accident occurred, and they still do it for California, like self-driving taxis.
Yeah, I know.
But we really need to do that and like get that done. And it's funny because we're talking about all this stuff, and you always think about the jobs getting lost because realistically, AI can drive transport drivers, but AI is going to put me out of business. It's going to put a lot of people out of business, but. You can't stop that. Like, that's the way life is, and it's always been like that. And you can look at historical references where it's just like, you know, a machine took over 50 people's jobs. It happened. So I think you just have to, you know, roll with the times, which I know sounds like, oh, well, that's easy for you to say. Well, it's going to happen. So
yeah, well, it's funny how we're talking about, you know, in California, they have, like you say, these, like, self-driving, like, Ubers and, like, taxis and stuff like that. And, like, we were just joking. And, I mean, we can delete this if you want. But we're literally, like, betting on how long it takes Toronto to finish, like, a subway system. And it's already taken them 9 years to do it. Yeah. And it's just, like, this is where we're at. Like,
yeah, fair enough.
That's the sad part.
If AI takes over construction, holy man, like Canadian construction, you better watch out because we are slow. If you like look at China or like Mexico, like they put stuff up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, wasn't there? I think this is like way back. I feel like you sent me like a video of like there was like some construction, like I don't know if it was like road construction that was like happening in Switzerland, and they like. Yeah, they did it fast, or they did it, or they made a certain.
They made a fake road for like a couple of hours that worked just like a real road, and then they just built the road, and it was like nothing, and it's like, you know.
And then once again, we take 9 years to like build an extended subway. It wasn't even like a subway.
They're working at night too, right?
Yeah.
So 9 years. Any other city in this, I don't even think they do that in Vancouver or Calgary. Any other city in this country,
major city,
9 years is 1 day. Toronto, that's day and night, and I don't get it. Well, I do get it. I think like someone's trying to get money, and that's how it always feels like. Because again, you check like the Chinese videos, and it's a bunch of guys. They work out in the morning to do like a little like stretch thing, and then they just go and do it. And it's like, man, what do they? You know what they're doing is that they're focusing on getting it done.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's quite the comparison.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, so I want AI to drive cars again. Anyways.
So if we went to California, in theory, like you'd want to try like the self-driving like Uber.
No, I didn't say that. I'm not gonna be the first one to try it.
Oh no, they've been around for a while.
I know. I wanna make sure that people like you and me are driving cars first, and then I'll try it. I'm not there yet. AI's not there yet for me. I think they need to have a couple more years to.
Like you're saying that you'd want like your own self-driving car first to see what it's like, and then do like it via someone else.
You got it. Yeah. So we're still a few years out. Like again, like we're talking about AI, but I've been computers long enough.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Windows Vista, and I know when something looks like it sucks, and you gotta wait for the next one to come out. That's where I'm at.
It's going to be a couple like versions.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. On the Zeta or whatever version.
I'm waiting for Windows 7 to come out.
Yeah.
Out of the cars, yeah. So,
man. All right, well, it's that time of the episode where we're going to do our thank yous because it's called the You Should Thank Me podcast. So yeah, this past week or so too, which I didn't mention earlier, but I have been feeling a little bit sick, like kind of like sore throat, just very sleepy. Not too sniffly or anything like that, but you've been really great and have been basically at my beck and call on top of you actually like working on call.
Yeah.
Getting me ginger ale and ordering me food and making sure that I have lots of water and all that stuff. So I appreciate that because it's kind of been this weird. I was sick and then I felt better and then I was kind of sick again. And
yeah, the weather's been so up and down. Like it's hot, cold. Even I was like feeling down.
That is true. So. On Saturday it was just brutal. It was like 4 degrees with like 4 degrees Celsius with like 55-kilometer winds. It was just so miserable. I'm like, how is this like late May? This is just not cool. So yeah, that is probably part of it too. But thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming with me to a show. We go to each other's musical shows, and I find your music a lot more easy to listen to than necessarily mine. So when you trooper with me, I'm always very happy because I like you around, and I know like I listen to like not the most fun music, I guess, especially Matt Berenger. Like you want to go feel miserable for a couple hours, he's the guy.
It doesn't add too much pep in your step.
Not a lot of happy songs. But either way, I'm happy you came and glad you had a good time with me. And,
for sure.
Appreciate it. And, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to the next concert too. Not that we have any in our calendars, but I mean the big Oasis tour is happening.
I can't afford that.
Would you want to afford that though? Would you go?
I wouldn't go to. Like if I had free tickets, yeah, I'll go. I'm just being honest.
Even though they're like 1,000 each or something like that.
I'm just being honest.
I don't know actually how much they were, but I know a couple people that are going.
A few $100, I think. Yeah. And now they're scalped.
And that's probably like whatever the word.
That was brand new. That was off like Ticketmaster.
No, but like that's probably the 500 seats or whatever the word is.
I don't know.
Like top of the, like as far away as possible, essentially. But I don't know. Alrighty, well, that's this week's episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week and enjoy the start of summer. I don't know when summer starts, but June to me is summer.
June 21st, one of my siblings' birthdays.
All right. TMI, but
Should I delete that? Let me know.
Anyways, so enjoy June. June is the real start of summer. Enjoy it. And don't think that June 20-something is the start of summer because June 1st is the start. So enjoy. You can take a few weeks off. You don't want to listen to our podcast as you're going outside. But then when you come back, you have to listen to all of them again. Not necessarily in order, though. So, We'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good one.
Right.
Bye.